Hi, I'm Bernie from Crafter's Companion. I'm here today to show you our Gemini patchwork dies 60-degree diamonds. One of my favourite. We're not supposed to have them, but I do love a diamond. Well, a girl does, doesn't she? So here it is in all its glory. Now we've got 8 sizes in here that ranges from 1 inch up to 4.5 inches. So let's see how we cut these out. So to cut out our dies, we're going to need some fabric. So what I've got here is I've got 6 layers of our quilting cotton. This is our So Retro range by Sarah herself. Absolutely lovely fabric to work with. We recommend up to 6 layers. They are multimedia dies. They're that lovely rose colour. But if you want to try less or more with your different weights of fabric, then do try. We're going to have our normal plate for cutting fabric. Clear plate, metal shim. Then we've got our fabric. I'm going to pop those 6 layers on there. And I'm going to cut a few out at a time. So these ones here I'm going to cut, which I'm going to sew together on the machine. And then I'm actually going to show you how you can use this for English paper piecing. So let me just cut this down so we can fit it on. So I'm also going to cut some fabric and I'm going to cut some paper as well. So we'll get that one on there, the fabric. And then I've got some paper that we're going to cut our smaller piece out of the paper. Lined up. So then we've got our plastic shim and our other clear plate. And let's pop that through. So I'm using the A4 Gemini today, but you will be able to put these through your Junior as well. And the smaller ones you'll get through the Gemini Go. So you can hear that crunch. That's a good crunch. That's a good noise that means it's working. And the time you're saving by cutting these all out together at the same time, it leaves you more time for sewing, which is what we all love. We hate the cutting out. So look at this, cutting through 6 layers, absolutely no problem at all. And then we've also cut through paper. Now I've cut through 4 layers of paper here, but you can cut through a lot more. As I say, these are stronger dies. And then we've got these ones here. So let's put that aside. So let's look at English paper piecing first. So with English paper piecing, you've got your piece. I've got a few pieces here. I'm going to pick that one. And then you've got your piece of paper or card, whatever you choose to use. If you've got a interfacing, you can use that as well. So if you use interfacing, you can always leave that in. And then what you're going to do is you're always going to take a size or 2 smaller, whichever you prefer to do. And then with either a glue stick or our Clal textile glue or with a needle and thread, you're basically going to sew around or glue around all 4 sides. And when you've got all the way around, you can see how crisp a point you've got there with that shape. And then you would join all those together if you were going to do that. Similarly with the plique, if you're going to put it onto your fabric and then you can sew around, you can have a running stitch, you can have a blanket stitch, any of those decorative stitches on your machine, stick it down with a heat and bond or our Threaders stick and spray for fabric, my #1 product of all time. Works absolutely amazing. But we're going to join them together on the machine and I'm going to show you an example of one of the seams that we need to use. It's called a Y seam. Don't be scared. Dead easy. So one regular pattern that's formed with the 60-degree diamond is what's called a tumbling block. We put them together there. We can see how it forms together. Put that one on there. You see how they're starting to form and you can see the block shape there, absolutely amazing. But what it is, it's this join here. I'll pop this one aside. And this is what's called your Y seam. So you can see that you've got your Y there. So I'm going to show you how we do that. And the one great tool that we also have that makes this a lot easier is our miter tool. Now let me pop this behind here so you can see it. This is our miter tool. And on here, there's a number of angles on here that are going to help us with this. So let's see how we do it. Let's make a little bit of room. So what we're interested in is we want to sew together these sides. So we're going to sew them in turn. So let's sew these two together first. So what we're going to do is put it right sides together. You can pop a pin in if you need to. And we want to sew this seam here, but what we don't want to do is sew right up to the end, because we need that open for to join this top piece in. So this is where our tool comes in really handy. Let's tilt this around. So what you're going to do is find the relevant angle on here. Now for a 60-degree diamond, the angle that you're going to use on here is 120 degrees. We've done all the maths for you, you don't need to worry. And what we're interested in is we need to mark a 1/4 inch point in of where we're going to start and stop sewing. So I'm going to take our heat erasable pen. I'm just going to line that up on the angle there, and there's a little hole in the tool that you can pop your pen through, and you can just little mark there, and that's where we're going to stop and start sewing. And you're also going to do one at the other end. Now this end is a 60 degree, so we're going to turn the tool around, find the 60-degree point, again line that one up, and we're going to do that point in there. And what you can do is do these beforehand. If you're sewing a lot together, you can go in and mark all your points. So I know that I'm going to sew from that point there to that point there. So I'm going to do that now, and I'm going to secure my stitches at the start and the finish. So let's pop that under the machine. And so I've secured at the start, and then I'm going to sew up to that next dot, and when I get to there, and it helps just go one stitch at a time if you're not sure. It's not a race, is it? We're going to enjoy it. So if I just cut that away there, oh, take out the pin. And if I open that out, we can see that we've got that join there, but if I then fold that back, you can see there that we haven't sewn right to the end, because that allows us to put this piece in here. So now what we're going to do is join this side. So we're going to join one side at a time. So I'm going to join this one to this one. So again, I'm going to flip it over. But this time, I'm going to flip it onto the other side. And where I'm going to start sewing, I don't need to do a dot this time because it's here, the point where I stopped sewing last time. But we just need to mark that point on this corner so we know where to stop. And then if we're going to join more and more in, you've got that there. So we're going to look for the 60 degree. We're going to pop our mitre tool on, and that little hole, we're just going to put a little dot in there, so I know that I'm going to sew from there to there. You can press in between as well, and I would press the seam to the side so you can see where you've been stitching. We'll pop a couple of pins in. You don't need to, but it does, I find it does help to keep it in place. So let's get back under the machine, and we're back at that point where we stopped sewing. So just get it lined up there, and again just secure those stitches, and then we're going to sew to the other point. And then we're going to do exactly the same with the other piece. Let's take that out. So and all you need to do is just swivel it round a little bit. You'll find it'll lie flat. Then we're going to take it over here. And the first thing to do is match up these points. And what you'll find is your other one will want to fold over into a sort of triangle. So if I lie that flat there, can you see how it's lying down? So it's looking like a half hexie at that point. So let's pin that again. And then I'm going to sew from where I stopped sewing last time. Oh, hang on, haven't marked my point. sometimes it's easy to think, oh, I'll just guess that, and sometimes you might hit lucky, sometimes you might not, but now you don't need to guess because you've got the tool. So let's sew from that stitch line down to that point, and then we've actually formed our tumbling block, but it is actually a hexagon as well. Take my pin out, don't sew over pins. And just secure my stitch. So I have a needle up down position on this machine, which is great because that does help you give that precision. And also if you've got a speed control as well, slow it down a little bit if you're not too confident. So now if I open that up, obviously we'll give it a press, but there we now have our hexagon. If I turn it around, we can see then we've got our block. You can see the block forming. If I turn it to the other side, you'll find that all your seams want to go one way, and the cutest part of all this is when you press it, you get a little tumbling block in the centre. And that is how to join them into the hexagon shape. So that's our 60-degree diamond. Absolutely amazing. Shall we look at a couple of samples? Let's have a look. We have, I absolutely adore this bag. This is fantastic. Oh, this one here, this has actually been appliqued on each one. So we've got the different sizes that we've cut, and then they've been appliqued on. And also what's happened with this outside one is it's been cut as half of the fabric, and then the smaller shape, if I put one on, you'll be able to see. So you can see how we've cut one piece out, it would have been the bigger size, and then the next size down has gone in to cut again inside, so it's made that V point. And again, that's been appliqued on onto the top of there with just fabulous rainbow colours. So that's our bag. And then I've got an amazing quilt, which is a totally different effect, and it just shows how you swap your colours around, how you can see the difference it makes. So with this one here, we've got a lovely table runner. So we've got the diamonds in the centre here to make the pattern, and then we've actually got the triangles inside there as well, just to even that out. And then I've got one more, and this one's been patchwork, this one, and then this one here, this one's been appliqued as well. So say you've got English paper piece, and you've got applique, and you've got patchwork, so you've got a wealth of choices to do with these dies. But this one here, I mean, look at these, aren't they so dinky and fab? And they've just been zigzagged all the way around, but they've actually been pieced first. So with the stars have been pieced with all the smaller diamonds, and then appliqued onto the runner. So that is our 60-degree diamond patchwork dies.